this is Mesha again with As Long as You're Breathing and another Every Life is a Story event. I love doing stories. You all know that. I love bringing you new people. Yes, my voice is still raspy and going in and out, which is a good thing because that means the guest gets to talk longer. Yeah, here it goes again. So the guest gets to talk even more. Um, as you all know, we bring this to you via StreamYard. So if you try to type in the chat and I don't answer you, you'll know that you're not enabled in StreamYard. It'll probably pop up and ask you anyway and say, do you want to be seen on StreamYard? And then you just enable the setting. Yes, is what happens there. But we are on StreamYard and we love to have you. We love to have your questions. We love to have your comments. So do chat with us and I'll be looking down. It's not that I'm ignoring my guests, but I do look down to see if anybody's in the chat. So we love it when you all do that. Or if you're watching the recording, go ahead and post comments and we will catch those too and come back and answer you. So with all that out of the way, I'm so happy to have this lady. She was actually on a show a while back. We had Elizabeth Kipp on, and Elizabeth was doing some ancestral clearing, and this lady came on and actually came on with us, and Elizabeth did some work with her. And then afterwards we connected and she's like, I'm a practitioner too. And so we got to talking, and I mean, she does this and she does that and she does this and, does that. And I'm like, hold on a second. I can't begin to remember all that you do. And so you all know how I feel about every person, every person's life is a story, and we all have so many chapters, not just a story. We are so many stories. So Rosina Valvo, I'm saying it right? Valvo, yeah, not Volvo. You're
not Volvo, no.
Valvo. Rosina Valvo. Yeah, I know. Yeah, Rosina Valvo is so multifaceted, and so I am just, without further ado, going to turn it over to her and let her tell you all about her story. So Rosina, welcome to Every Life is a Story. Let's hear yours.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been so wonderful speaking with you. We're having so much fun already.
I know you too. Lovely to know you.
Great. Well, I got into this a very, very long time ago because of issues that I had actually from birth. I was born with some neurological issues. They probably would have put me on the spectrum if at the time they knew anything about that. They really didn't. So I had symptoms like digestional disorders. I had neck, and you might see a little tremor come up. I had neck and jaw issues, pain issues throughout my shoulders, my neck, so it was kind of like widespread through my body, everything that was going on. But I started getting migraine headaches at about 11 years old.
Wow, that's young.
They were pretty intense, and I still managed to be in, I was a little social butterfly. I still managed to be in the plays. I was on the gymnastic team. I was a gymnast. I started doing gymnastics when I was 8 years old. So, wow. I mean, so I was really involved in sports, and there was just this migraine going on in the background all the time because they really had no medication for it or anything. Mm-hmm. So you dealt with it. Some learning disabilities, some things like that I just had a way of being able to cope with it. And I attribute it now to kind of some of these gifts that it also gave me. Yes. Getting this intuition. I knew when I was very young that I had premonitions. So there was always that little bit going on in the background. It's just at the time, I don't think my family would have, they kind of knew, and they kind of just whatever, my brother used to call me the witch, and, so they had this idea that something was going on there, but I never really talked about it. And I never really had anybody to talk to about it because I didn't know anybody who was kind of like me. So it was a bit of being isolated in this, but I also knew that I had to do something for my health. I had to find ways to better help myself because going to doctors and stuff just wasn't working. I remember at one point when I got a little bit older, when I was a teenager, and my early 20s, and they started coming out with all this Paxil and Prozacs, and because I would get anxiety and depressions, I would go into, and they put me on every one of those drugs. I said, I have done every pharmaceutical drug. I have done it was just crazy because it would never really work for me. And I remember one time I came home and I'm like, Mom, these doctors are trying to kill me. I used to say that to her. Like, I actually felt like I was scared to go to the doctor because I knew they would try something else. It was like this process of elimination that was going on.
Do you feel like, because you were young, you sensed you had something, and of course the family sensed you had something, and they kind of jokingly, your brother called you the witch, and you just really didn't talk about it. That's kind of a form of the programming we get of forgetting who we are because we're shut down and we don't talk about it.
Mm.
And then you ended up on, going to the doctor and all of these medications. Do you not feel like that was you needed all the medications because you do have all these gifts to begin with? So they were trying to medicate away your gifts kind of
Yeah.
somewhat too. Yeah, which
That's
doesn't work.
They're trying to kill me. Like,
Yeah, that doesn't work.
From a soul point of view, like they're taking my light away. Like, make them stop. Like,
so energetic you is over here saying, listen, pay attention to me and let me tell you what to do for your energetic self, and then physical self is going to get better. And but because of the way society is, and you weren't talking about it, the two of you weren't in sync and integrated, and so you weren't. This is so common, and so many people we've thought we were, and we were sick, and we had things wrong with us, and this is why, because we were taught and programmed, and it's nobody's fault. It's not like the families were trying to keep us sick or trying to program us to be bad, because they were raised that way, and before them were raised that way. It's what we knew. But now that we know differently, but yeah, I heard you talking, and you're like, and they were giving me these medicines, and I'm like, these don't work for me. This is such a common thing now. We're all saying this, so yeah, it's like I'm listening to you and watching you, and I'm like, oh gosh, bless her heart. Been there, done that, know that story. So bless your heart. Yeah. Go ahead.
Thank you. But so it really led me into taking care of myself and what can I do to like make myself better. And I was lucky in that my family, I came from a very traditional Italian family, so we ate very well in our house. And the food came from the farm, and my father was a hunter, and we ate good meat and we ate fresh food. So I was very, very blessed to have that. And, with that, we lived well. My dad did well, and we lived well. So I think just that having that background in diet and knowing eating seasonally and knowing what to eat and knowing that warmer foods work better in my body, and just that background already, then coupled with I had this knack to do massage. I learned how to do a massage when I was 10 years old in gymnastic camp. That was the first, and they gave us a class on how to work on each other in gymnastic camp when I was 10 years old. So, from that, I kind of always knew that I wanted to work on people, to put my hands on people, heal people. And I guess because it was just so innate in me to be healing myself all the time, it was like, I could do this for other people now. Like, this is working for me, but I knew this from like a teenager. I was very young. I think I was very young when this all started to come in. Yeah. So
it was who you were meant to be. And so, yes.
It's all just been a trajectory and levels.
Sure.
And, I just hung with it. I just hung with it despite everything else that was going on around me. Despite everybody going, would you get a job? Would you just get it? Like, no, I'm going to heal people. That's what I'm going to do.
There you go.
That's it. I'm sorry. This is what I got to do. This is it's a mission almost, it becomes so innate in you. There's such a pull. There's we're talking about chakras. There's this third chakra pull in you that this is what you're supposed to be doing.
And we're not happy if we're not true to ourselves. If we're not true to what that draw is in us, then we're not happy and we're not going to be healthy. So to heal yourself and to be well and to become whole and all of those things, you had to stay true to that and work through all of that. Of course, there were multiple layers and the energies around you, etc. So I'm sure you've had so much to go through to reach that. But yeah, we have to stay true to that. And unfortunately, many of us, our story is we don't. So, but I'm so glad that you did, and that you kept that Yeah. And of course, there's no coincidences, So, yeah, you were 10 years old and they were teaching you massage. That's great. I'm glad they did. They were meant to. So, that's amazing. Okay.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, I've had a lot of things like that happen in my life. That just out of the blue, things would happen that would let me know I was on the
The
right
right path.
track. I remember I wanted to stop. I stopped doing massage for a while to go to do ultrasounds. I became an ultrasound tech for a while.
Hmm.
And I remember saying that the people I worked with that I was doing the ultrasounds with in the hospitals and other places I was working were asking me for massages in between. Because as an ultrasound tech, you're constantly have your arm up like this. So
Yeah.
everybody's arms were and necks were sore. They were asking me for massages. And I said, well, I was just laying in bed praying one day. I said, should I start doing massages again? Like, is this really, I was miserable doing the ultrasounds. I really didn't, I learned a lot about the body and the internal workings and pathologies, which made me a better healer because I was educated in like medically trained in something, but I didn't like doing the work. So I was like, should I go back? And I actually saw like Jesus's hands come in through like the corner of my bedroom and out like this to me. Huge set of hands. And I just went, I guess I'm going back. And I went back into my business and massage after that.
Yeah. So, isn't it amazing though how there was a season in your life where you had something to do that you really wasn't what you wanted to do, but it taught you so much so you could go back and your intuition drew you back to, what it was that you're really called to
Oh
do.
yeah.
But yeah,
It
so
was like a sideline, like you got to go get this piece. Because the other thing that came of that was I was able to be a teaching assistant at the school, at the ultrasound school. So that was one of my first teaching positions, and I love to teach. As you know, now I'm teaching the massage
yes,
and holistic health program for Brookdale College here in
yes.
New Jersey. But this has been a background of teaching, and it really kind of started there.
Right.
So
So it served multiple purposes, and
yeah,
what
it
it
had to be
also
done.
it had to be done, but it also caused you to open yourself up to and recognize and ask and all of those things and accept the answer you got. And, because some people wouldn't have asked. And then if they'd gotten the answer the way you did, they would have been so freaked out they wouldn't have accepted it. And
Oh
so,
yeah.
yeah, I mean, there's so many layers to what you just said, girl, that it's beautiful and it's amazing and it's all those things. So, yes. So go on.
Well, I'm not sure where you want me to go from here because we can go into the tarot a little bit of what I'm doing now and some of
Yeah,
my
it's
work
your
that I do.
story. So it's your
Oh,
story.
it's
So
my
you
story.
It's your story. So you went back into massage, and from there, you.
Well, I had several businesses that I did, and then I started the Natural Health Center of Central New Jersey. I went back to school and got my bachelor's degree in natural health.
Okay,
So I had all this background now, but I started to specialize in cranial sacral therapy.
right.
And cranial sacral therapy was my, like I called it the missing link because I went to a girl that I knew for cranial sacral therapy once a week for 6 months, and my migraines never have come back since then.
You might.
Everything in my body switched out from doing that cranial sacral work.
Do you
Um,
want to explain what that is? Because not everybody knows. I
sure.
mean, that's kind of a really specialized. Not everybody knows those terms.
Yeah, cranial sacral therapy is a light touch therapy that's done fully clothed, and it's to balance out the nervous system. So we're basically working in the system that produces and filters the cerebral spinal fluid. So it's cranio, which is your brain and your head, sacral, which is the bottom of your back or sacrum. So, and it's just all the structures that we work in that are in between there. So, it's your brain, your spinal cord, in all those areas. But we actually pick up on this, it feels like an ocean wave. And we use all these words to describe it. We say, oh, it feels a little staticky today, or it feels a little choppy, or we call it a squar. So it's the symmetry, the quality, the amplitude, and the rate of what that rhythm is in your body. Now, everybody has it. Um,
Wow.
when we can pick up where it stops, and then we just add a little energy in, this is very light touch work. Add a little energy in, which actually makes the molecules of the body scatter out. And it gives a release. So you'll feel some heat sometimes, or people's noses will get itchy. And, depending on where we're working in the body, like I could be working in your pelvis and your nose will get itchy. And I know you had a release in your pelvis. So we could just pick things up on the body that are not flowing. Your spinal cord is not flowing. Your cerebral spinal fluid is not flowing well in that area. And we open it up. And now this goes to level after level after level, because you can go in now and then start doing emotional work with it. And then we started doing energy work, where we're working in the chakras and clearing out, doing visualization work, dialoguing with the inner body. And all of this really gets to the core or root issue of a disease, or even, I've worked with cancer patients, I've worked with lupus, I've worked with, Alzheimer's. Like, there's so many things that we can utilize this for. Autism, I worked with kids on the spectrum for, like, it was work, and it was actually developed for them, because it decreases the hyperaroused state of the sympathetic nervous system, which is also known as the fight or flight response. And
exactly.
And once we start to bring that down in the body, everything starts to change, because you're not in an adrenaline rush at all times. Your brain is not functioning like that anymore. Like, so you're just settled. And it makes such a difference, like, to walk through to get up from the table, and people are like they'll go home and sleep. Like, it's so funny, the subtle things that happen. Like, they'll come in and they'll go, like, they're there for neck pain. But in their intake, it'll be like, I haven't slept. I haven't been sleeping well. I have restless leg syndrome. I have, so they'll have all these other symptoms. So I'll get back to them like a week later and go, how are you feeling now? And they go, oh, well, the pain subsided. Yeah. And I said, how did you sleep? And they would go, oh my God, I slept really good all week. I slept good all week. Like, but they don't even realize, because it's such a subtle change in the body.
Right.
This is not so.
What you just hit on about the fight or flight or freeze, coming from chronic pain world, that is what we have discovered through quantum emotional healing, is where my whole turnaround came from. But it's the same theories, because it is all the same, that we had that turned on, and we had to go in and do similar things, just exactly like you're saying, and deal with the energy, clearing that energy, all of the things you're talking about, to dial that back or turn it off, or turn it down, or whatever. And so all the modalities of the people that I bring on, eventually come back around to whether they say the words fight flight system, or whether they say the words of fight flight and freeze, or whether they ever get to those. That is what it is that got turned on somehow, and we've got to dial it back or turn it down or whatever. And it's all because we've got energy that is stuck, and it's all, and then we always have to get to the underlying traumas or issues, that why the energies are stuck. What I love about what you were saying about the cranial sacral stuff, though, is the flowing, and how you were using the ocean type terms, because so much of our body is made of water, and how the moon affects the oceans and stuff. And so many people don't, they think like astrology and all of that is hokum. Well, to think that energy beings are not affected by the movement of the planetary bodies. Okay, if the moon affects the oceans, what do you think it's doing to us that are made of so much water?
Well, everything. I mean, everything is energy. Everything around us is affecting us in one way or another. We are miracle dissipative systems, which means everything is going to come in, it's going to go through, and it's going to come out. And it's how we process this input that determines kind of things about us and what we bring in around us. So it's how this whole thing is getting processed. So the more that you can clear out your inner system, so that when it comes through, it leaves you at a higher frequency. It leaves you in a better place. So then the things around you start to be better.
Absolutely. So it really is about what are you allowing in, and it's about keeping everything clear so you're living in the present moment is really what it's
Absolutely.
about. Yeah, because the past is the past. So clear yourself of that. And the future hasn't happened yet. And so don't be there. Live in the present moment, and I know people say, well, that's easier said than done, but it really is, that is what it's about. So I absolutely love what you're saying,
Yeah.
and all the modalities. Eventually that is what they boil down to, but people all have different ways of doing them, and I love all the different ways because they resonate with different people. That's why I love bringing all the people, and
Yeah.
you've trained in so many of them. But I love what you were saying about the cranial sacral. I've never heard anyone talk about it the way you just did. I've heard them talk about it, but you equated it with the ocean and the flow and the terms you used, and I'm like, oh wow, that is beautiful. That's beautiful.
I wish you lived closer. I could do some cranial sacral work with you.
I'm like, that's a beautiful way of putting it. That is a beautiful way of putting
I
it.
also just wanted to add, just like you're saying, living in the present and just
Mm-hmm.
our present, our current events of the day, let's put it
Mm-hmm.
that way, is pushing everybody into in a state of anxiousness because they're in the future, they're not in the present. Because it's difficult because they can't plan. They feel like they can't plan because everything is in so much flux. When we were talking about this earlier, I'm kind of in it
Right.
myself right now and trying to make sense of everything. But sometimes you just got to roll with it. And the
Flow.
best thing you can do is just have your plan in place. What do I really want? Because then let the energy move and be chaotic and do whatever it needs to do. Because as long as you're here and staying in your frequency and staying with your plan of what you wanted, you'll get there. It may
Yes.
take a little longer than expected because of these world events and things that are going on around us. But if you get too anxious about it, you're in a state of worry. And it's funny because that came up on the pre-read. I had told
Well,
you that
all
I did
right.
one.
Then that rolls us right into the fact that you also use the ancient art of tarot
The
to
tarots.
connect all of this. So why do you use the ancient art of tarot? Why
Well, let
why
me
do you
just
do
say
that?
what like I always do like a little pre-shuffle before I do
Okay.
anything free, so I could get an
Okay.
idea what's going on. So I did one for the group, and
Okay.
basically I'll just do this real quick, and then I'll tell you how I got into all of this.
Okay. All right.
So what came out, what flew out of my deck right today,
Flew out. So
flew out of
that
the
means
deck,
it was
and
strong
now
energy.
when I'm saying that, I'm doing this for the group. When I'm shuffling the cards, I'm like, well, I'm bringing in Formatia's group today, bringing energies Formatia's group today. I call them my higher spirit guides, whoever that is, your higher spirit guides, whoever's on the show tonight, today. There's, whoever is present and wants to help,
Mm-hmm.
whoever.
Right.
I accept all energies. I don't care what religion you are, what race you are. I don't care. It
Don't
doesn't
care.
matter to me. Energy is
Absolutely.
energy.
Right.
So I picked actually this flew out of the deck. This was the Three of Pentacles, and this is about, I don't know if you how well you can see this. Let me see if I
There we
can.
go. Yes. The Three of Pentacles. Okay.
Community,
Okay.
and everybody coming together to work to their highest power,
Yeah.
and that will be financially gainful for all of us. It's about
Yes.
working together. Coupled with that, clarifying that, was the Two of Cups. Now, the Two of Cups can be about a divine love partnership, but is also saying a partnership, business is partnership. And again, coming through this clarified this. So bring another person into your, bring somebody else to work with. If you're unsure of things, bring in people who can help you. And me and you are divine coupling right now. Like
Right.
that's it. It doesn't have to necessarily be for love. It
Yeah.
could be for business and career as well. But it's saying the energy right now is like, do it. Do it now. Now is the time to be doing this because it's like two heads are better than one. We're going to do better right now if we work with each other. And plus the back and forth with just another person who does what you do or does something similar to what you do or understands it takes away anxiety.
Yes.
Because now you have somebody who's kind of like a sounding board, somebody who's going to understand what you're talking about, instead of it just being you flying out here by yourself trying to figure it all out. So,
Right.
yeah, this is about bringing community together.
Wonderful.
These are my chakra cards. So, what came up was a yellow card, which is third chakra. our sense of self, right? And the hermit. And the hermit is a major arcana, but it also means sit back, get your plan together, make your plan, what we just said, make your plan because it's clarified by where are we? By the Eight of Swords. Say, get out of worry. Get yourself out of worry. Stop losing sleep over it.
Yeah.
So this all came out before I even got on with you today. And one of the reasons I love the tarot, because it's basically, I got into it because a friend of mine, she reads angel cards. She just reads her. She does a lot of like life coaching and stuff like that.
Right.
And I met her at a reading. I randomly picked her out of like 10 other things, and we ended up becoming very close friends. We're like besties now. And she went, "Why aren't you reading tarot cards?" And I said, "Well, I don't know. That's just, I don't know. I was always kind of like thought that was kind of unprofessional. Like it's too like kind of hokey. I like my stuff more based in nature, and you know, I'm kind of cerebral that way. Like I kind of want a certain kind of professionalism, and I thought this was tarot cards always seemed a little bit. Although I always went, you know, I would go to the tarot for advice sometimes too. So it wasn't something that I was against. I just didn't think it was right for me. So lo and behold, a couple days later, a tarot program comes rolling through my Facebook page because you know your phone hears everything.
Yeah, well,
but the energy that I was putting out was like, why would she say that to me? Because like she's psychic too, so I was like, this might mean something. You know, I don't take what she says with a grain of salt ever because I know there's always something to it.
Right.
So I went ahead and looked into this tarot course and ended up going to this, and it's called the Tarot Academy, and it was taught by a man named Richard Knight, who's amazing, who's been doing this his whole life. Has worked with dignitaries, with royalty, with celebrities, professional athletes. They flew him all to different places all over the world. Like it's amazing some of the people who get read. Like Elon Musk has his own tarot reader. You know, that they are just following the energies, and it's very helpful to them in their daily lives and also in business, and knowing like trends and what is going to happen and what they should, you know, how they should progress. What, you know, they base a lot of decisions that they make on it. Now, energies switch out, and I'll explain a little bit about that in a minute. But so anyway, I got to be, what I found out about this course was that Richard was also had several degrees in psychology. He was a life coach, so he was doing it from another point of view, and that I could wrap my head around. Because now I was like, now he's in my wheelhouse, because I'm like an alternative psychological practitioner as well. I'm certified in that. So I really
there you go, certified in something else.
Yeah, I wanted to bring that piece in where I'm doing this clearing work, and I'm doing this kind of like coaching work with people, not just reading cards like a fortune teller like that. I didn't want to do that. I wanted it to have substance. And this course was accredited by the Complementary Board of Medicine in the UK. And also by the spiritual workers in the UK.
Now, explain that. Why would the medical board in the UK be okay with this? But
because I think they're a lot further along as far as things like this are concerned, because they're an older country, and this has been around for centuries. And I think they just get to their medical community is just, even though it's a little more government run in Europe, it's a lot more holistic. So they actually, you know, like homeopathics in Belgium, that's how they cure people. They don't, you know, they go to spas. They don't go to a hospital unless it's like absolutely necessary that they need to be in one. For most things, there's a more holistic point of view there. So we have a Complementary Board of Medicine in the United States, and I'm sure this is going to come here because tarot just blew up. But that's what's happening now. Like it's going to turn into something else. So now we're taking the energies, and I'm also reading you with my ability as an intuitive empath, and I'm listening and channeling at the same time. So what's coming through for me, like I said, is like an energy triad. So there's me, there's my connection with you, and there's our connection to the cards. I'm the messenger. So I'm just basically picking up what's all of this information and going, okay, now I could go back to you and tell you what is going on, what you need to work on, what things are coming up for you, where you like I can give you guidance, but I can also do clearings because I'm feeling what part of your energy system is blocked. And then the cards are going to go, oh yeah, and they'll back me up.
And so it
Like
gives
I'll
you,
pick something that'll back me up, you know?
right. So it gives you a way to take what you're given intuitively and tangibly show who you're talking to and dealing with. Okay, this is what I was given, and to show you tangibly and validate that that's what I was given. Look here, and you turn them up, and the cards turn up, and you can,
Absolutely.
right.
And we are blown away every time.
Right.
I mean, I've been doing this now for a while, and it's like I'm amazed. And there's just this element of fun to it. It doesn't feel like a serious, a lot of times, even holistically and in the spiritual community, a lot of this healing stuff and meditation has this very kind of serious pull to it. There's good energy around it. It's a very high frequency, but we're in this place of like listening to a lot of sorrow all the time and listening to a lot of challenges that people are facing. And we're hearing these stories, but it's not, joy is one of the highest frequencies, and we're not doing that enough.
We have
And
got
the
to stay in
cards bring
joy.
joy. The cards
Yes.
bring a joy
Yes.
into it, because now you have these pretty pictures. Like some of these cards, I'll just pull one. Like, look at how beautiful the graphics are. Like, look at, like, I can show these pictures and they're gorgeous. And we have so much fun with them. Like, it's just like, sometimes the cards will do, I'll pull a card and it'll be just for us to laugh.
Right. It's so odd that you said that. The past like 48 hours, this has been like an ongoing theme in my discussions is about that. And joy is not necessarily, joy is different things to different people. To me, it is laughing. I laugh all the time. But, to some people, they're not giddy and giggly and all that. But joy is, it's sipping a cup of coffee and having their morning paper, or joy is different things to different people. But exactly. Yes, staying in the vibration of joy is when we are happy and healthy. And so we should do all things in that vibration. The goal is to be in that vibration of unconditional love and joy. And that is the goal, is to be in that vibration. And to
it is the goal. But some of us get too hard on ourselves from it. Part of getting to that goal is also going through and clearing.
Sure.
That's my mission right now. I don't want to just work with people. I want to do a lot of clearings. And that's what I'm planning to do, my higher zooming thing.
Right.
I guess we can get to that at the end. But
sure.
So yeah, but that's what it's more about. Like I know from my own personal experience and people that I've worked with, and even like with things like lupus and fibromyalgia, when we do those clearings, that's what makes the difference. And if you it doesn't have to be this like hardship. Let's go through this. Let me try to make my mind think differently. Let me try to and it's like
no.
We can do this, and it could be a pleasant process for you. And you don't have to dredge up all this stuff.
Right. If all of that worked, we would have been able to take care of it before. And that's why we weren't able to, is because what we were doing just in Western medicine and psychology and psychiatry, etc., that wasn't dealing with the energetics of it, which is what was attached to us. And we were reattaching by even if we did clear ourselves of it through things we were doing, we were then going back and reattaching. We were going back through it again, reattaching the energy. So we weren't taking care of our energetic hygiene, our energetic body. We weren't doing those things. We didn't even know to, really. And what little we were doing of it, like I said, we were just repoisoning ourselves, redoing it. So that was the issue, is that we weren't doing that. But you're absolutely right. That is the component that has to be done. We have to clear. And clearing does not mean you don't even really have to know what you're clearing yourself of. You just have to be aware of the fact that it is there and be open to releasing it. You don't have to know the exact, and certainly maybe you do know what it is, but you don't have to it's not like going to the psychiatrist or psychologist and
Mm.
reliving the trauma and telling them, you don't have to do that. I had a girl contact me, I don't know, a couple of weeks ago, and she's like, so when do I tell you what happened to me? And I'm like, I don't want to know what happened to you. I don't want you to go through that again. We're not going to do that at all. That's not what we're going to do at all. She goes, what do you mean? She's like, every therapist wants to know what happened to me. And I'm like, no, I don't want you going through that ever again. I want you to release that. And she was like, what? I said, the past is the past. We leave it in the past. The past is the past. You leave it in the past. And she's like, oh my God. And I mean, just the way I felt, how much she lost of it all, just me telling her that, just that alone, just released so much. And so, yes, that is how we get well. That is how we get better. That is how we do it.
That's how you heal.
That is how you heal.
And I mean,
that is how you heal.
It does come in levels. I mean, like, because there are some, like, a lot of times I'll call it the fluff because they're telling me about what their Aunt Tilly did 3 days ago that got them upset, that did that. And I'm like, that's the fluff. I don't need the fluff.
Right.
You're wasting time. I could be doing a clearing on you right now.
Right.
But then there's other issues that are more like deeply seated, that are like more disease processes and stuff in the body, where you kind of do want to go in more into the visualization, but that energy triad happens again. Now I'm connected with your body, and I'm asking you questions, but the questions are coming from you.
Right.
And now we're rolling it through again. So we can go deeper down that rabbit hole, and kind of the deeper you go into the clearing. And this is somato-emotional release in craniosacral therapy.
Right.
Which we got like really intense with. But I found now that I don't have to get that intense with people. We can go down so you get kind of an aha moment. And once you get that, there's a clearing. Things will always come up. Like, there's things like with my health and stuff that, like, they'll come up in other chakras now, or if there's something I need to clear.
Absolutely.
So you can't be too hard on yourself when things come back up again. I think it's just the nature of being a human being. It's just the nature of our time here. So we have to kind of go with that and go, okay, this is part of my flow. This is part of it. I have to go through some crap sometimes in order to heal it. And then I get to a different level. Now my life changes.
That is exactly it. When you said a different level, because we're only going to reach what we are ready to reach.
To go into.
Yeah. And then we live some more, and then we're triggered again or whatever. And then we're ready to reach a different level. And so it has nothing to do with that we didn't do the work. We did the work. If we're doing the work, I'll put it that way. If we're doing the work, we do the work to the level that we're ready to do the work to. And we go and we heal as much deep whatever as we are ready to do. And then when we are triggered again or whatever, then we but we're always spiraling upward instead of before, where we went back and we went over the same ground and went down again to pull ourselves back up, because that's what we did before. Yeah. We went back. Well, yeah, it goes back to what your daddy did to you, and you went back through all of that. You repoisoned yourself with it.
It's details, and it has nothing to do with anything.
And you drug yourself through that same muckety muck again, and you didn't get to the higher level because all you did was pull yourself back up to where you were, or maybe a little bit higher. But that's not what we do now. We don't go back down. We're like, okay, we healed to this point. Okay, we're there. Okay, now I've lived there for a bit, got some symptoms, got whatever coming up again because I've been triggered again. But then somebody like you comes in, we come across you, and we identify, okay, this is what it is. And so we clear that at another level. And so we're spiraling upward all the time. So we're actually clearing more and more all the time and spiraling upward. We don't have to go back down into any of that muckety muck. We don't have to go back to that because it's gone. And that's the beauty of it. And so that is what I love about what we do now, because we're not band-aiding anything. We're not going back and doing it again, because we're doing the energetic body, and the energetic body has been taken care of. We didn't just do something over here to the physical body that we got to now go back and redo, because we took care of it with the energetic body. And now we have caught up. The two have caught up with one another. The physical body is caught up with what we did with the energetic body, and the physical body's like, okay, I'm ready for more. And the energetic body's like, okay, we can go deeper now. because we have to let the two catch up with each other and get in sync with each other. And that is the beauty of the work now, is that we can actually heal. We actually can heal. We don't have to keep going back down in the muckety muck and redoing the same bullshit.
And I really, it's true. And I really feel that, like, that's why the energy is so chaotic now, and especially with healers and light workers, and why we're getting like put in this pressure cooker and being tossed around a bit, because that major change is happening. I think it's like we're done now. We did the work. And now it's going to like finally shift after years of us being in this energy of like, nope, you got to keep learning. Nope, you got to keep learning. Nope, you got to keep learning. And it's frustrating when we're waiting to get to that other, that really higher level. But, then the veil lifted, where we were able to hear our higher guidance better, where like over the last 10 years, so much has happened energetically.
Yes.
And now we're coming to like this pinnacle of it, that I think it's just in the transition. Like, we're at the end of it all now. So it's going to do what it's got to do to get to like a nice settled place. So that's why you got to be strict, square in what you want and how you want to do things, and what your plan is. Like, that's why. Because it's like this is where it's going to fall together. The pieces will come together wherever you were planning it to be. So that's your manifestation. Right. If your manifestation has been consistent and in the right place, it's coming now. I think in the new year, everybody should see kind of things in their life start to really come back together. And I think even things on the planet with COVID and stuff like that, I think we'll be in a much better space with it. I don't know so much that it's going away. I think we'll be handling it better and being able to function in our lives kind of with this now.
Well, yes, because the energy follows energy. So wherever you're focusing your energy, the energy will follow. And so absolutely. And that's, as we've gotten into the higher vibrations, that's more and more so. And so absolutely, yeah. So
I just got a piece from Metatron. Like, I just got channeled a little bit, and he was saying all will be healed. He's just saying like what I just said is true. Like, all will be healed. He's just saying, and he's making gestures towards harmony. There's going to be a lot of harmony. Like this structure will come back. This harmony will come back. There will be healing. They're like, and Metatron, I don't know if you're familiar with Metatron. He's an archangel.
I'm very familiar. Yes.
You're very familiar. Okay.
Very familiar.
Know what yours were, but yeah. So I connect with him sometimes, and
very
that
familiar.
just came through pretty strong. It was like, hey, Rosina.
That doesn't surprise me. We work closely together, so that doesn't surprise me.
Yeah.
Metatron does amazing work. That doesn't surprise me. Yes, that doesn't surprise me.
So I wanted to get back to
the cards. Go right ahead. You go right ahead. Yes.
Basically, the history of these cards were what everybody thinks they are. It was fortune tellers and circus acts and things like that. But actually, the history of these cards goes back to an Italian aristocrat. I forget what century it is. I think it's on my website. But he commissioned an artist to put this deck of cards together so that he could have game night with his family. That's what the cards started as.
Wow.
A deck of tarot cards was being used as playing cards for this Italian diplomat and his family for family night, card play game night.
Wow.
From there, and in some towns in Italy, they still celebrate. And I just thought of my Italian background. I was like, wow, I can't believe it has such an Italian history.
I've never heard this before, so I'm fascinated. So I can't wait to hear the rest.
So then, in certain towns in Italy, the major arcana, they're called, are like the major cards of the tarot. Here, look, the first one I pulled out, the Magician, the Sun, some of these higher energies here. Those are the major arcanas. Well, people would dress up like these. People would dress up like them, and they'd have like parades and festivals through the streets.
Wow.
Of these cards. So these playing cards became like this big thing. Now, and went over, I think it was like the French, kind of came and took the cards over, and they wanted to market these things to be read by people. This is where the mysticism started to come in. So they started marketing it as it was very mystical. and it was very, had magic behind it, and they put that piece on it, that it was very fortune teller, and then this like black magic thing came into it, but they were never had that energy before. That's not what they were created for.
Okay.
They started to connect the energies of the cards, like that noticed that certain the cards had carried an energy, and then people started to read those energies of the cards. Now, saying that they're not dark, there are people who read the cards for dark energies.
There are people who do all. There are people who take anything and make it dark.
Yeah,
I mean
exactly.
that is
whatever your energy is, whatever the energy you want to pull in, it'll come
right.
through.
Whatever energy you want to be in is what energy you're in. Yes. So
I do this all for good.
yeah,
I work with my angels and higher spirit guides, and
bring in the white light. That's right.
And I mean, like my first deck of cards, I remember I got them. I ordered from Amazon. And I remember, like, I was so excited when I got, like, the box. And you're supposed to acclimate your cards when you get them. So I was like, I opened them up from the box, but I didn't take them out of the cellophane. Like, I didn't take it out of the box that the cards came in. And I was like, nope, I'm going to do, like, this whole ceremony around it tonight. I'm going to, like, bless my cards, and I'm going to, like, do the whole thing. Like, I was all excited about that I was going to do this. And I swear, this box of cards was going, open me now. Open me now, open me now. Till like I was just like, all right, like I'll do it. And I opened up the cards, and this deck just immediately started speaking to me. I didn't even really have to acclimate it. It just started going. Like I shuffled the cards and I pulled the cards, and I was like, wow. Like they just like were popping at me. And it was funny also how like the way Richard taught us to read. He put certain things on the cards, like, and then you kind of elaborate from there, whatever energies you're picking up from it. But it was a great way to learn. But I was amazed how quickly I picked it up, because it's really based on intuition and nothing else. So who's ever reading you, it's their intuition coming through a lot too. So you have to make sure who's ever reading you is very well grounded, that the table is much, because you don't want their opinions coming into it.
Right.
It's like you have to really, that's what I'm saying, that energy triad that I was trained to do with cranial sacral therapy, I applied the same rule here, because I need to be in a neutral space to be able to read you. I don't want my opinions coming in. I don't want your fears coming in. We want the clean energy coming in, of where we really need to go to get to you, to your highest good. So when I work with people, I make sure that we're in that energy triad, and it's clean, and we're both grounded, and it's going to be, like a nice reading that way, where this other energies are not going to come kind of in there. As I know sometimes that you get read, and it's kind of another person will form an opinion around what your cards are saying. And it's really, I don't think it's for us to do that. I think it's for us to read it in a way that's just going to be helpful to you, inspiring to you, guidance for you. It shouldn't be about the negatives coming up in this. And I actually won't read reversals. There are shadow sides to the cards, but as I was taught, that a reversal is nothing more than a card getting shuffled the wrong way sometimes, or getting put back in the deck the wrong way sometimes. There's very few true reversals of cards. Now, there's some card decks now that are coming in that have, and I actually just bought it. This is the Light Seers deck. I just bought it again. They're beautiful, beautiful looking cards. But these cards have shadow sides. So in the upright, they can have, their meanings can be of you in your current energies of what's happening. And that could be that you are in your shadow energy for whatever their situation is right now. So here's what
to help people with their shadow work.
To help people with their shadow. So this is going into that without it being like, oh, it's a reversal. Oh my God, like the world's going to come to an end.
Right.
Like, It's not like that at all. It's not like that at all. And this is when anything ever comes up, or when we have a card in an obstacle position, that's your guidance right there.
It's your opportunity to.
That's your guidance. That's where you gotta go.
Right.
Yeah, this is what I gotta work on.
This is what I need to work on. Clear space so something good can come in, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah, that's it's like people freaking out over tower moments. Okay, well, it's got to come down so you can build something new. That's
exactly.
It's not necessarily. Yeah, well,
there's always a lot of controversy around the death card, and people get really scared when it comes up. But actually, what the death card is telling you is that, like, first of all, you're in probably limited belief, or you're a negative thought process. If you're overindulging in something, or you're having an addiction reaction to something that you need, that you're doing that, and you need help with that.
Or it's just that something's getting ready to change, and something's going to leave your life before something else can come in. I mean,
I was going to say, like, and it also represents that, this is going to change now.
Because we are constantly asking for our lives to be different and for new stuff to come in. We are constantly.
We don't want it. It's out of our comfort zone.
Right. My pet peeve is how people want good relationships. They want relationships that are uplifting and fun and all of this stuff. And then they get them, and then they don't make the space to keep them. They don't do the things to keep them. They just keep right on or go back to living the life they had. And it's like, everybody around them's like, well, I knew that relationship wouldn't last. And they're like, I knew it was too good to be true. Well, you didn't make the space to have it.
It was doomed before it began.
Yeah, because you didn't make the space for it. You did that yourself. You manifested it. You got it. You brought that in, but then you sabotaged it yourself because you didn't make the space for it. The tower, or death. We have to eliminate things. It's like if we want new clothes, we got to move some old ones out of our closet. We've got to make space. People are, like new moon and people are always, they're calling in their intentions for the new moon, and the full moon comes and they're like, okay, well, I'm here and they're looking back on what they did with the new moon, and they're like, but it didn't come in. And so and we're telling them, okay, what do you got to release then? What do you got to release? They're like, what do you mean? What have I got to release? Well, your manifestation would love to come, but you're not releasing anything. There's only so much room. You've got to release something. The universe would love to give it to you, but it's like, where's the space for it? Did you prepare your vessel for what you asked for? Did you prepare yourself for what you asked for? You asked for love. You asked for happiness. You asked for joy. You asked for better. You asked for higher vibrational, but you didn't prepare yourself for it. So we brought it to you, but but people don't get that part. They think that it's going to happen because everybody else around them is going to change. No, change happens because we change, and we only change if things change.
And even in your space and your environment, like I remember, and I still do this occasionally, if I needed new clients, that I would take out files of clients that I hadn't seen in a year and threw them out and made room in the filing cabinet. And I always got like 3 or 4 more clients in right after that.
Absolutely.
Because the space was made for them to come.
You made the space. Same thing
with relationships. If you want somebody to come in, you have to start bringing in the energy of that. You have to start making space for that.
You do.
Setting up your environment for somebody to be, if it's a man, how can you make a man more welcome? I remember having this conversation with so many women that were working on relationships, and I'm like, if you got flowered bedspreads everywhere and like doilies and stuff like that, like no man that is not male energy. You're not pulling in male energy. So make it, like I said, my bedroom sets have always been really heavy wood and darker woods, like, because whenever I wanted to pull in a male relationship, that's the energy that I want there, that heavy masculine energy. That's what you want. So you got to put it there. You got to make a man feel welcome. Like he's got to feel good when he walks into your space. If the space has too much feminine energy, he's going to be like, well, he likes you enough, he'll stay, but it'll make him uncomfortable to be there. You know what I mean? Like, I'll always be like,
I do. I understand.
I always want my bed. I should say that. That sounds funny, but
that sounds great. I love it.
In my bed.
there. I'm just gonna, we should just leave it right there and say, okay, everybody, that's a wrap.
Good. Good night.
Yeah. No, you're right though. I mean, we do. It is how the energy that we put into things. You know, yeah, you're absolutely right. Yeah, I can't add to that and make it any better because, but I believe in that. And yes, whenever my apartment, I've done the same thing here. I've set the energy where it is not it's not. I'm a girly girl. Okay, my apartment is not a girly girl apartment because I don't want it to be I'm not like out there promoting, hey men, look here, but I'm single and I don't want to be in a relationship just to be in a relationship. I can be alone, that's fine, but at the same time I don't want to put off the energy of I want to attract the right person and all of that, and that person is not a guy that wants as much as I like country French and I love country French, I don't want a guy that is all about country French. I want him to be okay with a little bit of country French. I want him to be in touch with his divine feminine.
Country French.
I want him to appreciate country French, and so the place is not ultra masculine either, but it is very balanced. I do have a little bit of country French over here, so country French is acceptable. It's like, okay, yeah, I can live with that. But no, the place is very balanced and it's very comfortable. It's not, it's clean, it's organized, but it's comfortable, and it represents who I am and how I am. It represents what I want in my life, and so we have to do that. We have to set our surroundings up to call in what it is we want. And no, I don't want a bunch of men to say, okay, she said no. That's not what I'm saying at all. But if you want a relationship, that is what you have to do. Your life has to show, what it is you want. I'm not like, yeah, your life has to show what kind of relationship it is you want. That is what you have to do. And I'm a person that believes relationships should be value added. You should be adding value to each other's life. And I think my life shows that.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's a beautiful way to put it.
Yeah, I think my life shows that because I'm not out just like, okay, I've just got to have a relationship, Yeah. So
are you man?
Yeah. So my life is set up for the right kind of guy, not but not either to to be very comfortable in, but at the same time it's got to be somebody that is going to be value added, but I'm value added in their life too. And so so that is the energy I want to give off is, it's got to be whole and complete, and we're adding to each other's life and all of that. And we make those choices. That is what we do in all things in our life. The same way with the jobs that we get and the friends that we have, et cetera, et cetera. If we don't make the space and create the space and create our vessel to receive what it is we say we want, if we don't create that space to receive that, then we're not going to get it. If we say we want friends, but we're not friendly, we're not going to get them. Or we say we want friends.
That's also the area where you can go, if it's not coming, where am I blocked?
Where am I blocked? How am I blocking it?
That's what needs to be worked on. When it's not coming, when you don't see signs of it coming in, that may indicate a block there. Especially when it's a pattern, that's a block.
Right.
So working, that's where that's where you begin. That's where you start to work to clear that, because a lot of times it's just a fear. There's an underlying fear that you're not even kind of conscious of a lot of times. That's coming in, that just needs to be cleared out.
Absolutely.
And in love relationships, we see this a lot. There's love that will come in and people will push it away because they just get afraid. And it's like, based on past relationships or just not knowing, what the future is going to be. Or if I can marry this guy. Oh my God, I have to break up with you. Like, it's like, that's what ends up happening with our energy. It's like, oh my God, he really loves me. What do I do now? Like, it just is too scary for people sometimes. Not on a conscious level. That's what your underlying energy, that's how your underlying energy is reacting. Because your underlying energy is coming up and going, remember what happened last time you tried to get married and somebody loved you? So
Yeah.
that's what comes up, and now it's just a matter of kind of
Clearing the blocks.
recognizing that, acknowledging that energy, and going, okay, I'm ready for this next thing. I'm stable enough now that I know when love is coming in. I'm able to give love. I'm able to receive love. So you're at your new level. So get rid of the old junk that's still in there, because
Right.
that's what's holding you back. And a lot of
Right.
times you just don't even realize it. But these are some of the signs you look for. What's the patterns that are happening? Why
Yes.
does the same thing keep coming up every time? Every time I see him, why do I get nervous? Like, so there's things like that that'll happen. You'll feel it in certain parts of your body. Like, oh, like it's
Yes.
more than just butterflies, and that,
Yeah.
your rush of, what is it, oxytocin, by
Oxytocin.
seeing this person that
Absolutely.
you're newly in love with.
Right.
It's more than that now. It's this underlying thing going, oh, we're just not sure about this, like, so that's a block. That's blocking you from really having that next level. That is how you get to your next level.
It is. Yes. You identify. You
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 have to
start.
find you have to start looking for these things. You have to start looking for these patterns. Watch yourself. Yeah, it's not just about awareness, it's about really actually viewing yourself as another person and saying, am I doing that? Like, how am I doing something that's adding to the situation that's not going well for me? So you really have to sit back and view yourself in what you're doing in
Which
that
is
situation.
becoming conscious, which is
Yeah,
becoming awake, which, and so many people think, oh my God, that's such woo woo language. No, that's what consciousness and
that's
awake is.
consciousness. Yeah,
That's consciousness. That's awakening. That is when you are seeing aspects of yourself clearly, and therefore you are expanding your consciousness and making changes in your life. And it is an ongoing process. It is an ongoing process, and we are ever growing and changing because we do it. And so there are always going to be things to clear, because we are always going to have more spiraling upward to do and more healing to do. And so we're always going to need people like you to do what you're doing. And that is,
hopefully.
yes, we are, because there will always
Um,
be.
I just wanted to add one more thing too, because
Yes,
when you're
absolutely.
noticing things about yourself, you should also take time to be scanning your inner body. Where am I feeling it in my
Yes,
body? Because that's going to give you a really big clue into what chakra you need to work in, and what,
sure.
like I can pick it up on people just when I'm working with them.
Right.
I'm going to pick it up. I feel it in my own body. So yeah, I'm empath, where I've taken it and used it. I feel what other people are feeling in their bodies sometimes before they feel it. So I remember when I first kind of discovered this, I was walking through a mall. It was around Christmas, and there was people walking at me, and all of a sudden I was going, right knee, left shoulder. Like I was picking up where people were having pain,
That's a yes. So
and
what we have to do is have you back so you can do a little of that, but you have to tell people about your Zoom and how they find you and how they work with you.
sure,
And then you have to come back and do some as long as you're breathing shows, and just give people a taste of what you do so they can
awesome.
see. But
That would
yes,
be
tell them
great.
about your Zoom, and we will put links up so they can come to your Zoom that you do, because you do what you do, and you do it so well. So tell us about it.
Thank you. So my website is www.higherhealingtarot.com.
Hmm.
From that website, you can access everything. So
Okay.
you can get to my Facebook page from there. It's probably the easiest way to do it than me giving you all these links. You can search Higher Healing Tarot in Facebook, but this way you're getting mine, because there's so many tarot sites right now.
And I will put that
Although I
in
don't
the
think
first
any of them are
comment.
named Higher Healing Tarot. Also, I'm going to be starting on Friday nights, starting not this Friday, the following Friday. I think it's the
Okay.
18th.
Okay.
No, it's not the 18th. That's my mom's birthday. It's the 16th. What is that? Um, October 16th. Yeah, October 16th. So every Friday night from 7 to 8:30 p.m. That's Eastern Standard Time. I will be doing a Zoom. So I'm calling it Higher Zooming,
Higher
where
zooming.
I'm going to get about 10 people on, so that we can have some discussion like this. I can pull individual cards for people, so and that we can get into some of this clearing work, because I could do it as a group. And then I can do it individually. When you have 10 people, I can kind of like go in but I'll be talking a lot about a lot of the concepts we were talking about today and going in a little bit more depth. So my first one, I just wanted to give is like a little gift, so it'll only be $10. And then it'll probably be 20 after that for the following Fridays. If you go on my website and you go to services, you'll see higher zooming. You just click on that and you go in and you can see where you can sign up on the calendar for that. And there's a PayPal link right connected to it. Everything is through my website. Any kind of services that you want with me, just go into my website. Like everything is set up so that you don't need to contact me. If there's something you need to know, there is a contact page where you can ask me a question. And I really prefer it if you go through that than trying to do it through Messenger and Facebook and everything. I prefer that you ask questions through the website contact page. I also do a special every month. This month, for the month of October, it was funny because we pulled that Three of Pentacles, right? It was about I do everything with aces. So because aces to me are like a new beginning,
Right.
So I do everything. So it was Ace of Pentacles for this month. Readings about people who need assistance or help or guidance with the practicalities of their life right now. Like since they're in so much chaos and change, kind of which direction to go, what they should be worried about, what they should not be worried about, what is important, what's not important. So the practicalities of your daily routine, like what changes can be made to make things a little bit more easier, make it flow a little bit easier. So every month I'm going to pick, and I do it energetically. I do whatever comes up energetically for me. I ask the cards, what's a good special for this month. So there's a 1 hour reading that includes in-depth clearings, and I even use tuning forks sometimes with people. I use crystals, so whatever is needed at that time. And then there's the 3-card reading, which is just like the shorter reading. And that one I'll usually do some kind of little energy clearing with you on that one. And it's like a 3-card reading. On the longer one, on the longer session, I actually do a full Celtic cross reading. So you're getting a full picture of everything.
Wow, girl, that is so much. And so, so you have to come back and I know people, the tuning forks, that's interesting. People don't know about we've not ever talked about that here before. And I've been wanting somebody to come on and talk about crystals. I've been looking for somebody to come on and talk about crystals. So I would love for you to come back and talk about working with crystals. I would really love for you to do that because I
just do it intuitively. I'm like,
that's okay.
I don't know if I'm like great authority on like which kind of crystals they are and stuff.
But that's okay because that is really, that matters. What you're getting intuitively about crystals, that matters. So I would love for you to do that and tell us what you're getting intuitively and how you're being led to use crystals, because I think mostly people are using them intuitively because we are going from clay to crystalline, and that's why we have been led to use crystals. And so all right, girl.
I just got these 2 for joy. And they're really, really strong too. I love them. I got a wand for joy. Yeah.
It'd be awesome. Yeah, I yesterday or the day before I picked up 4 new ones. Yeah, I don't get out and do much of anything, but when I do get out, I go buy rocks. It's like seriously, I don't spend money on anything, but I go buy rocks. So, I love them.
Do we have time? Should I pick a quick Light Seers card? There's an oracle.
There's no time frame on this. So we go as long as you want to.
Yeah, let's do one for everybody.
Okay, let's do something.
This is just the Light Seers. This is an oracle, so we'll just see what comes up.
Okay, let's see.
No questions were really asked, but like I said, we could come back and I could do like little mini readings for everybody. That might be fun too.
Yeah.
Everybody always likes it when I do that. So let's see what we got here. I'm just going to cut the deck. These are the Light Seers cards. So we got Bridget.
Okay.
Bridget is a Celtic. It's funny we were talking about that. Inner strength. Move back to wholeness. Recognize that you have power.
Imagine that.
Recognize a lot of what we were talking about today, right?
Yeah.
Self-worth, power, 3rd chakra. It all came up. It's all there.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
It's
It's
a great
amazing
one.
how it all comes together. Like,
It does.
I could
Yes.
just pull it out of nowhere. Downloads and understanding was the underlying energy here. Downloads, Lady Venus, downloads and understanding. Truth is being revealed. Deep insights are coming from heaven and the astral realm. Again, something else that was the message from Metatron too earlier today, right?
And which one is that? What is it, Lady?
This one's called Lady Venus. Let me see if I can there.
Oh wow. Yeah, yep. Yes, that one is spot on. That one is spot on. So, all right. Thank you so much. And yes, you have to come back and
Oh, I
however you want to do
definitely will.
it. Yeah, however you want to do it, we will absolutely, because this has been so good. And so thank you all who have joined us. I've been watching. We've been having people come and go. Nobody asked any questions, but thank you all who have been here. And I do have the website here, and I will put it in also once we have gone off, so it will come up even better for you all. But Rosina Valvo, and who is certified in things she didn't even get to because there's just no way we could get to all of them, I'm quite sure. But she uses her intuition and the ancient art of tarot to hone in and use all of those things that she's certified in. And it's been a joy and a pleasure. And I know that people would benefit from your work, and that you certainly understand that the essence of it is that we have these energies that we need to clear so that we can live our highest and best good. And that I know that's what your heart is for people, that's what you want for them, and that's what I want too, because I want, as long as we're all breathing, for us to live with great big capital letters. And that's why I bring everyone's story like I do, because every story matters. Every story. Your story is just as important as our stories, and every chapter is different. We don't have just one story, we've got many chapters. And so however your life is going, it doesn't have to be a Monday, it doesn't have to be the beginning of the month, it doesn't have to be a new year, it doesn't have to be a new moon or a full moon, it doesn't have to be the top of an hour. It could be the second you realize, this isn't how I want it to be. You start writing your story differently right then, because as long as you're breathing, you're not out of ink. So you all come back and join us again soon. Thank you for being with us today. Love you all much.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Thank you, Misha. Bye.